I thought Anna was going to be the translator, so well, I apologize for not getting the note. Oh well, we'll just make it work. Um, okay, Mike isn't here, so is Mike? I don't see Mike. Okay, well, let's offer the mandala. Please make the mudra. Here is the great earth, filled with the smell of incense and covered with a blanket of flowers. The great mountain, the four continents, wearing a jewel of the sun and the moon. In my mind, I make them the paradise of a Buddha and offer it all to you. By this deed, may every living being experience the pure world. Idam Guru Ratna Mandalakam Niryatayame. I go for refuge in time, enlightened to the Buddha, compassion, knowledge, and strength, the Dharma, the enlightened side of truth, and the song of the community of realized beings. From the virtuous merit I create from the practice of giving with the understanding of emptiness, moral discipline with the understanding of emptiness, patience with the understanding of emptiness, joy separate with the understanding of emptiness, concentration, wisdom, may I attain the state of a Buddha for the benefit of all living beings. I go for refuge in time, enlightened to the Buddha, compassion, knowledge, and strength, the Dharma, the enlightened side of truth, and the song of the community of realized beings. From the virtuous merit I create, from the practice of giving with the understanding of emptiness, moral discipline with the understanding of emptiness, patience with the understanding of emptiness, joyous effort with the understanding of emptiness, concentration, wisdom, may I attain the state of a Buddha for the benefit of all living beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, compassion, knowledge, and strength, the Dharma, the enlightened side of truth, and the Sangha, the community of realized beings. From the virtuous merit I create from the practice of giving with the understanding of emptiness, moral discipline with the understanding of emptiness, patience with the understanding of emptiness, joyous effort with the understanding of emptiness, concentration and wisdom, I will attain the state of a Buddha for the benefit of all living beings. Okay. Let's see. Who all's available for rejoicing? We have a bunch of people recording. Well, let's see. Well, we'll start we'll start with Katya. What do you have to rejoice in today?
Hi, hello, everybody. I don't know if my internet is okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So I want to rejoice that I went to Diamond Mountain and that I saw Lama Serani and Venerable Sumati and that we have a good time together. Also, I rejoice that I was in with a lot of people that want to be better person and that they are on the way to enlightenment.
Yes, that was quite the courses at Diamond Mountain this last week. Well, Evgeny, do you want to rejoice?
Я с радостью. Только мне придется перевести.
I will translate
Спасибо
for you
большое.
Lama Sumati in
Я
English
хочу
channel.
поделиться тем,
I
что
would like to share
примерно месяц
in the
назад
English channel that months ago
я побывал на
I
своем первом
I
ретрите.
was at my first
Я ни
retreat
разу не
in
ходил на
life.
ретрит.
I have never been to retreats before, and
И я ощутил
I
наконец-то
felt
то, о чем все
finally
говорят,
what
зачем,
everyone
почему
talks
нужно
about,
ходить в ретрит. Я
why
наконец-то
we need to go for
прочувствовал
retreat. I
это.
felt it,
И это было как-то,
and that was
невероятно. И
unbelievable.
теперь я
And
вступил в
now
ряды тех,
I
кто
am
ходит в
one of
ретрит
those
и наслаждается этим.
fans of retreats and enjoy retreats.
Oh, good. Very good. One thing I've got to let everybody know, I'm expecting a phone call back from the surgeon So I may have to take a call during class, and I apologize for that. Well, very good, Evgeny. Now you just have to carve out the time. But if you're enthusiastic about doing it, then you'll find the time. That's it. And one way to do that is make sure you make time for others so that you can set the karmic seeds necessary for you to get the time you need. Okay. Anna, do you want to rejoice?
Hello, dear Venerable Sumati. Hello, everyone. Thank you for opportunity. About my rejoicing, first of all, I found time to visit my mom and spend with her a couple days. She had a birthday. She is 77 for now. And I'm very glad that I can spend this time with my mom. And one more, maybe about teachings which we had in previous week. During previous week with dear Geshe Michael, it was really very interesting, incredible, amazing, very deep for me. And I also rejoice that we can continue these teachings
Good.
with him and with our Sangha. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the teachings were they were amazing. I agree with that. Okay. Daria, what do you have to rejoice in?
Good morning, Venerable Sumati. I'm rejoiced I can see you happy and healthy. It's for me, it's more rejoiced. Yeah, and you smiled. And I saw photo, Kate, I think, sharing photo with you and Lama Sarani. It's amazing.
Oh, well, she takes a good picture. I don't know so
Yeah.
much about me, but yeah, I had some things happen with my health, so I'll talk about that in a minute. Svetlana, do you have something to rejoice in?
У меня скоро появится первая внучка, и я счастлива.
I will soon have my first granddaughter,
Слышно меня?
due to.
Да,
Mhm.
да, спасибо
Very
огромное. А
good.
вообще
Very good.
я счастлива от того, что
I'm
я с
happy
вами
because I'm with you,
жива
alive
и здесь.
and here.
Спасибо.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, who's left? I don't think it's a pretty small class today. Okay, me. What do I have to rejoice in? Well, I had 2 visits to the emergency room. That's always exciting. First visit, I thought I had a blood clot in my lower right leg. And after a bunch of tests, they don't know what was wrong. So I don't know. Then a little bit later, I woke up with a feeling my heart was going to explode out of my chest, which is not a pleasant feeling. So we went to the ER and they did a bunch of tests, and I have what's called bigiminy. My explanation is my heart beats and then it stops, skips a beat, and takes up again. So it's rather disconcerting to feel your pulse and know that your heart's not beating for a pulse. So on May 16th, I'm wearing a monitor now that's monitoring my heart activity all day for the last 30 days. And the cardiologist will be looking at that data, and I may have to get a pacemaker. I don't know. But so 2 visits to the ER, I'm still here. So that's good. What else did I do? Oh, intentions are an interesting thing. And 3 weeks ago, I said to myself, my lovely wife, before we went to a meeting, an appointment with my neurologist, I said, it would sure be nice if there was a new medication that would help my condition. And we got there and we're talking, and I mentioned that to the nurse practitioner, and she said, well, there does happen to be a new time-release carbidopa levodopa. And so we're trying it, and it seems to be helping with my left side very nicely. So I had the thought that I wanted to, hopefully there was a new medication, and there was. So now I just have to start thinking about enlightenment, and then that'll take care of, that'll ripen as me getting enlightened. So what else? Nuts. Well, I've been pursuing this one piece of information for 6 months for an article I'm writing. And a friend of mine said he knew the information, and he sent it to me, and I asked him for the actual reference, and he didn't have it. So I can't use the date without an actual reference. So I'm rejoicing that well, I'm planning on it. I'm rejoicing that I didn't get angry at my friend. I didn't get irritated. I just thought, well, I'm not going to have the day and date for that launch, and the world will continue to revolve. So I was pleased I was able to not get mad. Okay, so everybody smile. Good. Don't worry about me. I'm as good as I can be at this point, and I intend to be around for a while. Okay, so let's start with class. Now, class 8, the course 8, Geshe was, I think, otherwise occupied, so some of the classes are very short. So what I would like to do is start working on the death meditation. It won't be the full course equivalent, but we'll take you through a death meditation that I think you'll find interesting. So first of all, so I ask this question of you. What are the ultimate causes for each of the different realms and types of rebirth? It's not a trick question. It's an easy one to answer. Katya, since you're the only one that's not recording or interpreting, what do you think is the ultimate cause for each of the different realms and types of rebirth? Katya, did you hear me?
Oh,
No.
may I?
Okay, go ahead, Anna.
Yeah, I think the main cause it's our deeds, how we behaved with other people in our previous life, previous time. So
Yes.
the main cause it's our behavior.
Yes, karmic actions projected onto a blank screen forced by our past deeds toward others. So this is why we need to study this Abhidhamma Kosha, the realms and types of existence. So to learn what kind of results we are creating by our actions, and to learn what beings need our help. It's easy to think that just the ones that we can see, but if you believe in the ones you can't see, and there's no reason not to believe in them, then we have that expands our responsibility greatly. The Abhidhamma Kosha is a pretty weird explanation of our world. And it's not at all like we know, in quotes, but it is. But at the time of Columbus, the best information was that the world was flat. So we need to cut Master Vasubandhu a little bit of slack on his description of the world. His Holiness was sitting with a bunch of scientists, physicists, and cosmologists in one interview I saw, and they were telling him how the Buddhist cosmology with Mount Meru and the surrounding oceans and mountain chains was incorrect. and science had the correct answer. And His Holiness was just smiling and nodding. And I can just imagine him saying, yeah, that's what you guys say now. What's it going to be 30 years from now? And he has a good point. I'm not saying the world is flat. I'm just saying we don't, until we can all see emptiness directly, we're not going to have a faintest clue as to how the world really exists in terms of personal experience. So the perceptions come from karma. So to Lord Buddha in 1350, or Master Vasubandhu in 1350 AD, that's whose description was as valid as anything else. So can you have two valid perceptions of the same object? Yes. Go ahead, Kachin. Give us an example.
I don't have an example.
Okay. Well, you nodded your head. So, see, if you see a person at work that you think is lazy and not getting much done, and somebody else comes up to you and says, man, that person works hard. He gets a lot done. So those are two valid perceptions. Now, here's the thing to remember. There's a valid perception and there's a correct perception. Now, it seems like they'd be the same thing, but they aren't. A correct perception is you're perceiving things, understanding karma and emptiness. A valid perception just means your perception was not influenced by intense emotion or drugs. So there's a difference to keep in mind. A valid perception can be a correct perception, but it isn't necessary. All correct perceptions are valid perceptions, but not all valid perceptions are correct perceptions. So if that has confused you completely, write it down and think about it. Okay. Now here's a statement. I like movies, and George Clooney in the Ocean's 12 film, I believe, said to his wife, played by Julia Roberts, just because you are right does not mean I am wrong. So that's kind of an example of two valid perceptions. The other one, the second one I keep in mind all the time is I try to listen the way I want to be heard, which means to me not interrupting people. And when I'm talking, talk succinctly, and most important for me, talk briefly. What do I mean by that? Why is that important? If you can't get your point across in just a few sentences, then I realize I need to go back and think it out a little bit better. If you have someone who's talking to you and they just keep going on and on, you lose interest and you start to think of other things. You don't pay attention to what they're saying. So if you want the karma to have people pay attention to you, you need to pay attention to others speaking. And if you want the karma to have short, succinct sentences or explanations, you have to make sure that when someone asks you a question, you answer short, succinct answer. So I know all of you are much better at that than I am, but it really is something we all need to focus on. I need to check something on my phone. No, I thought it was recalling me. Okay, so back to the Amidharma Kosha. We're going to talk briefly about the formless realm. There is no one physical space where the formless realm exists. The formless realm for a being is wherever it dies. and there is only mind, no bodies. Putting yourself into a formless realm meditation creates a cause to be born there, which is something we do not want to have happen. It's pretty rare. It's a meditation level totally gets disengaged from all objects of the senses and even more subtle levels of desire. So, unless you're really, really good meditator, you can't get completely disengaged from objects of the senses. So you don't have to worry about being trapped in a formless realm meditation. There are 4 kinds of meditation that result in formless realm existence. And this, I will admit, these make very little sense to me, but I share them with you in case they're on your homework. The first is not conceptual and not non-conceptual. Your body is in the desire realm. The mind is at an extremely subtle level called not conceptual and not non-conceptual. I will admit, I have no idea what that means. The second one is limitless awareness meditation. The third is nothing at all meditation. And the fourth is peak of existence meditation. The corresponding levels of formless realm meditation is, number 1 is limitless space. It's a state of samadhi where the state of mind is like limitless space. Limitless awareness is a subtler form of number 1. The nothing at all meditation is even more subtle. And the fourth is a peak of suffering existence, where you meditate on from the lowest levels to the highest, more subtle state. The fact, and your meditation is over the fact that everybody is suffering. So we're talking about the formless realm and there's no body. How does the mind exist without a body? Well, there are 3 possible explanations. First, am I physical or mental? I have both a body and a mind, but the concept that I am Sumati is just a concept, which is neither physical nor mental. That concept doesn't think or feel. The second, life energy continues and the mind rides on that. That's kind of shaky for me. Karma, the mind continues because of karmic seeds in, karmic seeds out. We never run out of karmic seeds. The Abhidhamma Kosha then goes on to say the fact of one's impermanence is a condition of existence. What distinguishes formless realm from the other 2? Desire realm and form realm. A level of subtlety of the mind. Each realm and the beings in the realm are defined by the unique mental afflictions and attachments. Formless realm beings get afflictions about their mind. That is all they have. So they get attached to it, and jealousy and desire arise. To travel between the realms from one level to the next means our mind reaches more and more subtle levels of attachment and even greater levels of detachment from objects of the grosser levels. So let's get to something that makes a little more sense, to me anyway. There are 5 kinds of actual birth. You can be reborn as a hell being, a craving spirit, an animal, a human, or a pleasure being. Bardo beings, they do not fit in any of these categories, but they are in between. We'll talk about that in a bit. So hell beings, worst, craving spirits, not as bad as hell beings, animal, human, and then the pleasure being. And the pleasure beings have two levels, lesser and full. So we've talked about the 5 types of actual birth. How many ways are there of taking birth? There are 4. Miraculous, that means one takes birth fully. You're born fully complete. You just poof, there is an adult. Pleasure beings are born this way, as are the hell beings and pretas. So the 2 extreme ends of existence, that of hell being and that of totally pleasure being. I don't say they're not. I don't think they're enlightened. So then there's from warmth and moisture. That's I don't know how many. How many of you taken had a biology course in high school? Pretty much everybody. So do you remember when they talked about spontaneous generation? They had, what happened was some scientists would put pieces of straw in warm water and let it sit. And then all sorts of things would start showing up. Would be insect eggs would hatch that they couldn't see would hatch. And there would be these little microscopic insects. So it looked like they came out of nowhere when they really came out of just eggs that were too tiny to see with their microscope. So that was how they defined spontaneous generation. Just appear. From, well, let's see, how does that differ from miraculous? Oh, the warmth and moisture, you hatch from an egg and you have to grow to be an adult. And birth from womb, that's mammals. Birth from eggs is everybody else. Birds, fish, reptiles, insects. Some are better than others. The explanation is that this determination is based on how much it hurts you and the mother. So the best way to be reborn is miraculous birth. It hurts no one and you're up and running right away. The next, birth from the womb, hurts the mother once and hurts you once. Birth from an egg hurts the mother once and you twice. It hurts to be pushed out, then it hurts to open the egg shell. The end of the section speaks of some beings knowing where they're going to be reborn. Now, it's very interesting to say Geshe, to hear Geshe say he knows exactly where he's going to be reborn. And as an Arya, someone who's seen emptiness directly, that's one thing you see and know to be true. Then there's some that are aware of entering the womb, and some in staying in the womb, and issuing from the womb. Self-made arhats have awareness of entering the room and also staying in the womb. Buddhas, they're aware of entering, staying, and coming out of the womb. Those born from eggs are not aware of any of this. So why do you think Lord Buddha chose to go through being born from the womb? He gave such pain. Why not get born complete? Mahayana scripture says they went through all this as a big charade. They show us the truth of suffering, the truth of the cause of suffering, the truth of the end of suffering, and the truth of a path to end the suffering. Okay. So those are some of the dry facts we needed to go over. So we're going to do a meditation, start the meditation now. So if you need to go to the bathroom or anything, we'll take 5 minutes and go ahead and do that because we're going to need to sit still for a few minutes. So it's 10:31 now. We'll start again at 10:36. Okay. Again, I apologize if a phone call comes. during the meditation, but that's unfortunately the way it goes. Okay, so please get comfortable. Spine straight, eyes lowered or closed, head level, shoulders level, left hand over the right hand. Let's take 10 slow, relaxed breaths. I'll count 10. Here we go. Now go for refuge in the fact that the teachings of this course, Course 8, can help us change our behavior in order to really protect ourselves and help us truly help other beings. Think about bodhicitta. Think of someone you know who's having trouble, mental or physical or emotional pain. Think how much you'd like to be able to help them and grow that feeling in your heart. Next, invite your holy being to come and meditate with you. I like to put them in the air about a full-length prostration away from me. They're life-size, smiling and happy that you're doing your practice. You've asked them to join you. Now mentally prostrate, thanking them for their good qualities. Think of something they've done for you and praise them for it. Now make them an offering. Some part of your practice that you did today that went particularly well. And as a corollary to that, think of something you did that wasn't as good, a wrong deed. Replay the mental video and determine hard to try not to do it again. This would be where you could do a quick 4 pound. Next, rejoice, tell them a specific goodness that you did and are happy about it. Ask for the teachings, both formal and informal. And one thing Geshe Michael stressed this last week was formal and informal means just that. You can be in a classroom and getting a formal teaching, but how about when you're out and about in the kaleidoscopic view of everyday life? I challenge you to constantly look for someone teaching you some aspect of being a bodhisattva. I think it's really fun. My wife and I have a lot of fun doing that. Please ask the teachers to stay. Pray for your Holy One's long life. Okay, shift around if you need to, then we'll get started. Now, I tend to fall asleep with these meditations, so if you look up and I'm not going, then I've fallen asleep. Okay, here we go. We're setting the scene. You are at the edge of a dark, thick forest, looking into a clearing that has a building. The building is earthen, with clay tiles on it as the roof, solid. It has a moat between you and it, and a bridge across the moat. Between the moat and the building is a beautiful meadow with flowers and tall grass. Between you and the moat is a clearing. You've been struggling through this thick, dark forest without a trail for a long time. You're tired from having carried a heavy backpack that contains all of your possessions. Things are even strapped to the outside because you have so much stuff you feel you cannot live without. These objects on the outside of your pack have caught the branches and made the trip very difficult. Your arms and face are all scratched up. You're simply hot, tired, thirsty, and fed up with this forest. You see in the clearing a table with food and cold drinks and lots of people milling around. You come out of the forest, you walk towards the table, you have to push past people to get to the food and drink. They push back and grab it was on the outside of your backpack. It seems like they're thinking everyone for themselves. You slap their hands, defending your stuff, all the while trying to get to the food and drink. This scene is like someone living life in denial of their inevitable death. We constantly struggle to get what we want or what we think we need. We struggle to protect our stuff from people that think they need it. We use up our good karma and create negative karma without a moment's hesitation. This is what it's like to not meditate on death. The stuff in the backpack represents all our unnecessary possessions, relationships, activities, beliefs, opinions. Perhaps the canteen is the big house mortgage that you struggle to get out from. You bought the house based on a job that you thought you'd have forever, and then you lost a job and now you're stuck with a house you're having struggling to pay for. The flashlight is your fancy car. The bedroll is that friend that just likes to go to the bar and yak about sports. Hang on a minute. Without meditating on death, we'll never come to see how useless and petty much of what we do really is. And that's how we perpetuate this cycle of suffering. You break out of the crowd thinking there's something wrong with this picture. I cannot go on like this. Something has to change. You pass by the table with food and drink. You just want to get away from this angry crowd. You break away from the crowd. You move towards the bridge and walk to the high point in the center of the bridge. It's an arched bridge. The bridge represents the benefit of doing a good death meditation. You take off the backpack, open it up. You start to throw things over the bridge railing, identify them as you go, and saying good riddance. For me, I used to have 3 newspaper subscriptions, 2 news magazines, and 4 sports magazines. Top that off with a Netflix subscription. I was burdened with a lot of extra stuff. You are dismantling all the useless activities by throwing things out of your backpack. The flashlight goes, you don't need that fancy car. The deed to your house goes because you're going to sell it, so you don't have to struggle with trying to make payments on it. You're eliminating all useless activities, things, and relationships that eat up your time without any real benefit. You pick up your pack and continue across the bridge, having gotten rid of those things without regret. That's the key. You can't have regret. So this is essentially renunciation. You have to, for renunciation to work, you have to really bite out, don't bite off more than you can chew. It's like with the 4 powers. Don't say you're never going to get mad at someone who's on their cell phone in the car and driving ridiculously slowly. Because I can't say I'll never get mad again. So I just say, when it comes up next, I'm going to focus my attention on not getting angry. Okay, you're over the bridge now. The backpack is very light, but you're still dirty, hot, and tired. You look ahead and you see a gauntlet of armed guards that you must pass through before you make it into the building. By gauntlet, it means there are 2 lines of these armed guards and there's a space in between them that you're going to have to walk or run through. The guards represent another kind of death meditation where you would practice the terror and pain and panic of death. You know this and muster your remaining strength and courage and run right past them before they can react. Suddenly, as if by magic, you find yourself in a peaceful meadow, refreshed, clean, and you have no more backpack. You are carefree and stroll towards the building's door. You find yourself standing in the front of a yellow door on the building's east side. This is the front door to the building. On the door is a sign that says, "Death is certain." You open the door, it's cool inside and it's dark. The room is circular. Just to the right is a huge vicious dog, but it's restrained by a chain to be just out of reach of you. It is snarling and snapping. Can't wait for you to walk closer so it can attack. This is the Lord of Death. And if he gets a hold of you, your death is certain, a certainty. When your karma for this life runs out, it's going to be as if the chain restraining the dog breaks. And you are toast. You move to the center of the room and you see a large hourglass standing on a table waist high. The sand is flowing down quickly. And for me, it's well past halfway down, since I'm soon to be 72. This is your life leaking away. The hourglass is fixed to the table, so you can't turn it over to stop the flow. This signifies that you can't take a rest in this life. You've got to move on. You look beyond the table and you see a corridor leading from the room. Because your life is slipping away, as represented by the hourglass, you run through the opening and into the corridor. Along the walls are images of all the different teachers you have had, all the different teachings you have attended. You run by, not being able to stop and think about each teaching. You're propelled by them to go by them by an unstoppable force. That force is your karma for this life running out. This represents never enough time to study the Dharma. At the end of the corridor is a green door with a sign that says, "Time of death is uncertain." You open the door and step in to a triangular-shaped room. You're at the point, and the base is across the room, from which you can see a red door. In front of you is a garbage can with a calendar in it, with your 72nd birthday circled on May 6th. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to hold. So just stay thinking about that, and I will be right back. I'm so sorry. I apologize. That's very inappropriate, but I need to get that appointment and they have to call me back. I can't call them. So, um, so let me see. How do we want to do this? Let's finish class there and we'll resume the meditation next class. And I will try very hard not to have an interruption. Okay. These classes, many of the Course 8 classes were quite short because Geshe, I'm not sure what Geshe had to do, but this was back when he was still running, helping run the diamond business. So I think this may have been that he was getting ready for a trip. So we have the option to combine 2 short classes into one if you would like, or we can keep them as separate classes. It's up to you. What do you think? I can't hear you. There you go.
For me, it's okay as you want.
Okay, let's keep it. We'll do the meditation, and they'll be kind of short. Okay. Okay, so we'll see everybody again on Thursday, and let's dedicate this. May the source of goodness, benefit and goodness, the Dharma spread and expand. May the beings upholding the Dharma have excellent health. May the source of happiness and well-being for all embodied beings, the Dharma taught by the Buddhas, always increase. And again, my sincere apologies for the interruption. There's nothing I could do about it. So it's kind of silly. The reason I'm going to an award ceremony at the end of May, and I was going to have surgery on May 7th for a skin cancer right here. And there's no way of knowing how big an incision they're going to have to make to remove it. And I'm not all that worried about my appearance, but I didn't want to have a big Band-Aid on the side of my head. If the picture's being taken of the award, nothing's worse than having a big blob on your head. So I decided now I could turn my head like this, and this is my best side anyway. But I decided I just postpone it. The skin cancer is one of the benevolent kind that's easily removed by surgery. And I know if I postpone it, it will be trivial. But I also know if I didn't postpone it, I would end up with, like I said, it's going to need stitches and stuff. So I'm not worried about it. I had one here by the same surgeon and one on my nose. So she does a very good job of the surgery. So I'm confident things will be fine. So, Anna, smile. There you go. Everything's going to be fine. I promise. As far as I can promise anything. Okay. Thank you for coming to class, and we'll see you on Thursday. Think about renunciation. Think about a specific thing that you know you need to give up in order to really focus your attention on your studies. And if you want to, we'll share that with us on Thursday. Okay. Okay. Bye, everybody.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Many, many thanks. Please stay.
So I intend to. Okay. Thanks again. Bye-bye.